Welcome back, everybody, to the Wild Faith Podcast. My name is Evan Bungham. I have my co-host Luke Timmons with me here today. We are on episode 32, and we have a exciting episode to bring you guys today. And without further ado, let's just dive into it. Luke, how you doing today?
Good. It was a very early start to the day, but
Those are fun.
yeah, it was good, but try to get out and do some the inaugural main voyage of the duck canoe this morning.
The duck canoe.
Didn't quite we made it on the water, but that was about it.
Ooh,
So the little lake that I was scouting, I've scouted a few times this last couple weeks, and then went out there last night, and I mean there was woodies flying all around. I mean it's probably 30, 40 woodies flying in that last hour of sunlight or so. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be money. And then went out this so where I'm going with this is there's only one boat access, and it's a very like shallow lake, like maybe 5 feet at the deepest. But anyways, there's one boat ramp, whatever you want to call it, canoe
sure.
launch, and the outside of this lake is just absolutely covered thick with cattails, so very conducive for duck hunting. However, the channel does get blocked,
Okay.
and so good luck. You kind of getting through that. It's like trying to canoe over ground. So I went out last night and looked at it, and I'm like, looks good. Looks like I can get it through. And went out this morning, got it canoe all loaded up, got Rogan in the truck. We went out, drove out there, and
What time?
I got up at 3. I was probably on the road by 3:45. So I think I got it.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, and it's public. So, you don't know. Who
Yeah.
knows if, someone's going to be out there or not. I mean, it's big enough lake where if there was someone out there, it's fine. But want to be first to the punch. But yeah, I got everything loaded up, started going to the canoe. Lights are working great.
Good.
Which, by the way, the episode, well, this will come out Monday, so the episode actually will drop before that for the build. But
Perfect.
yeah, the light works, or the lights work great on it. Still had my headlamp on too, but got like 50 yards maybe, and there was just a wall of cattails. So there was no making through. I tried, because you can move like some of
Yeah.
it around, and I tried like sort of getting out of the canoe and trying to walk it, but it was like probably 4 feet deep, and I'm like, nah,
No.
maybe tomorrow. So yeah, we'll get out one of these
You
days.
should
But
have went out there with a machete.
yeah, wow, I would have needed. I don't know what I would have needed, because it was like, I mean, there's like grass growing in some of the spots, which is crazy. So
Are you allowed to cut grass? Just like, in Minnesota, you can't cut tree limbs on public land.
like for blinds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Read your reg book.
Yeah. I've never thought about that before.
Yeah, I guess my plan last night, just doing scouting and kind of like finalizing where I wanted to sit. There was some pretty decently sized cattail beds like in the middle of the lake, and then obviously all around the lake, so I could literally just tuck in somewhere. But got a huge 12-foot long camel burlap to throw over the canoe when I'm not in it. But basically, my plan was to just hide the canoe behind the cattail bed, sit in the cattails, and then throw my decoys out in front of me with the sun, the east coming up behind me. So, any duck would be coming around at me and not see, hopefully, me or the canoe behind me with.
Sure.
So, yeah, I can't tell you if it worked or not yet, because haven't been out yet. But no, so I mean, I know it closes again. Duck closes again Sunday, and then opens back up that following Saturday. So I might sneak out Sunday night.
Goofy.
But yeah, they have, for whatever reason, that 5-day buffer.
Last night when I was working in the garage, I could just hear honkers flying just continuously over the house last night, which is interesting. They're flying. I mean, they're moving. So
yeah, yep. Yeah, I mean it's almost October, so we're
Crazy.
We're getting into it. We're halfway, or not halfway, halfway through, the tail end of September. So,
Well, that's well, I mean, that's unfortunate. I mean, that's I've had that happen a handful of times on pieces of public, like early morning, going out,
hmm
trying to get a tree stand up, and it's just like, oh, there's a headlamp, there's a headlamp, there's a
no, right.
headlamp.
Yeah.
But at least deer hunting. At least you're okay. You can get out mid morning, and still have like a good hunt. But yeah,
hmm
unfortunate that now you know.
Yeah. Trying the next spot. So we got a
Outside
few more.
outside of not being able to hunt, though, how
hmm
was the canoe in the water?
Good. I mean, the 50 yards I made it. So maybe 100 yards total, 50 out, 50 back. It was fine. I mean, Rogue and I have been out a bunch on some little reservoirs around our area and just getting us both used to being in a canoe with each other.
Nice.
Um, so I laid the burlap down where he sits just so he's not like, cause I want him like sliding around on the plastic and shit. But, so he's fine. He's kind of a goofball and tries to drink the water. And finally I'm just like, sit down and shut up until I can get moving here. But
Oh,
he's
I'm
good.
I'm excited to watch the video. I've tried not to ask too many. That's always the funny thing with us. When we do these catch up podcasts too, because you and I talk quite a bit, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
try not to tell each other things because it's like, no, now we gotta
Save
save
it.
it.
Yeah. Right.
Nice.
Yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
good.
So it'll be good. And like I said, I got a few other spots that I've kind of looked at, and one I really have my eye on. I just haven't had the time to go because it's probably a good hour drive out to the spot, and then I'd almost want to I'd almost want to like scout hunt it in the afternoon, like for an evening hunt, because I don't know how far back I can actually get. If I run into the same situation I did this morning, so I'd rather do that
And you're
during the
paddling, right?
day. Yep, yep.
Okay.
I've flirted with a trolling motor because it's got the square stern on it, but we're gonna roll with the paddle for now and see what happens.
Nice. Nice.
hmm
Facebook Marketplace, man.
Oh
Get
yeah, yeah.
screaming.
And actually, I was looking at Cabela's. You get one for like $100 right now, so they got some on sale.
That's not bad.
No, so we'll see what shakes out. Like I said, I'll probably try and sneak out this last Sunday, maybe evening. I got dad duty this weekend, so
Fun.
quick
Nice.
quick sneak out for a
Yeah.
evening hunt on
Just
Sunday.
bring the boys with. They'd love it.
They would. I'd
That
probably,
would
yeah.
that would be a nightmare.
It'd be a nightmare. It'd be a nightmare. A 4 and a 2-year-old in a canoe trying to shoot ducks would be
At 4:30 in the morning.
yeah,
Guys, just sit down and be quiet.
yeah. It'd be something. Someday they'll be out
Eh,
there, but little young yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. Well, that's exciting. And congrats again. I mean, if you guys haven't watched the video yet, Luke did a good job putting that together. Congrats on your dough once again.
Yeah, yeah. It was fun. That was a good time, and it was nice catching up with all the guys. I know we did the podcast. What was it? Episode 30, right? Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
crazy. But catching up with all the guys on kind of their plans for the season and what they got shaken out. And shout out to Nick. He shot a doe a couple nights ago too. So
That's right.
um
He did.
yep, yep. Yeah, and I mean I know I was talking to Noah last night. He was out hunting and had a nice little bachelor group of bucks, like I think he said 3 or 4 come through.
Oh, cool.
Um so they haven't quite broken up yet. But boy, do we, I mean, as you can attest, we need some cold weather and some rain.
Yeah. I I haven't even. I'm going through a little bit of busy point here in my life, but
hmm
I haven't even had a chance to think about deer hunting yet. I did just order a saddle for the first time ever in my life,
hmm
so I was in my garage till about 1:30 last night getting it all rigged up. I am a even like when I switched to mobile hunting probably about 5 years ago, and I bought my first lone wolf. I had I think an assault two that I rigged out. I've
hmm
very particular how I like my setups because for
Yeah.
me, like I like knowing that all my gear is quiet, everything that rattles is tied down. Because like most of the
hmm
time when I am hunting, running gun style, I'm getting knit and gritty and tight, and
hmm
I'm pushing the envelope a lot of times, kind of almost similar to that beast style of hunting with like Dan Infalt. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think I've sat in your saddle once,
Yep.
and that's it. So I think I actually got the same one you got. I got the updated one. So I got the Mondo
Hmm.
from XOP with the Invader
Nice.
series of sticks and platform. Super light,
Perfect. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, when you switch from carrying 4 sticks and a tree stand on your back to a saddle, it's kind of a game changer.
It feels yeah, it feels weird. And it's going to take some practice. So I'm going to start hopefully tonight, and then for sure this
Hmm.
weekend I can get like 3 4 climbing sessions in and shooting, just to
Yeah.
kind of get comfortable. And like I'll start adding to my kit, I'm sure, here as time
Yeah.
kind of goes on, to just figure out what exactly I want, just to start really minimizing that bulk load. But no, it should be good. I mean, it looks like, what day is it? It's the 26th today when we're recording this. It looks like, by the time that podcast comes out on
At
the
night.
on 30th, I think it's that Tuesday, is that front
Hmm.
is that full
Yeah.
swing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's what is it? I just was talking to Noah about that. It's like a good 20-degree drop in the high. So I mean,
It's gonna be a good one.
that's those are those weather conditions, those weather flashing lights that say get in a tree
Hmm.
today, because yeah, it's going to be 78 Monday and then 62. So wow, that is a huge drop. Yeah,
Well, it's one of those. Well,
and
yeah, you
40s
better
at night. So
better be out hunting.
yeah, yep, yeah. So when you're listening to this on Monday, get some plans together to probably go out Monday night, Tuesday
Yeah,
morning. So
no, 1,000% to that. And good thing I've got
if you
the
can,
got those days off, so that'll be nice.
even better. Yeah. So you definitely need to get some practice this weekend.
Well, the hard thing is, I was just talking with my wife about it. Like, I'm not going to be back down on the farm until about damn
Ma-
near Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
someone's got to go kill one. They're
I mean,
they're
twist
they're
twist
not non-existent right now, but they're coming back.
yeah, they are Ghost Recon right now. I don't know if it's just cuz it's been so dry and there's just cuz I don't know what the creek's much like. Obviously they got the pond, but um I don't know how dry it's been, if that's a reason, and I mean, like, and that's always interesting too, like when you have your bachelor groups run around from, August into September, and then, like about maybe this time of the year in a week or two, they'll really start obviously breaking up, but they need to show up.
No, it's interesting because I look at it where we're at up here. Leaves are changing, fall's happening. Like,
Hmm.
it's an exciting, and shout out to Ross. Ross, if you're listening, he shot a really nice buck. I believe last weekend, and that was
Hmm.
his first year with a bow, first big buck with a bow. So that was kind
Yeah.
of cool. But they're definitely moving. I've seen, that's the hard thing about now. As fall rolls around, not just for waterfowl hunting, for pheasant hunting, for everything, for deer hunting, you know, you get to start seeing people starting to shoot deer, and you're wondering, what am I doing wrong? But at the same time, though, yeah, like, it's hard to say if bucks are truly bachelored up. I want to say I would think that they're getting to the tail end of that, especially
Yeah.
like maybe the young ones. I think the mature ones have finally kind of dispersed, but it's been, like you said, it's been hot. It's been hot. It's been dry.
Hmm.
There's been no reason for bucks to be out really. We've had one big front, and that actually happened during opener.
Hmm.
So we didn't.
And even that was kind of iffy because it was, you know, hotter than what out and there's no wind.
Yeah. So, kind of going with that too. I mean, I look at it, our cameras have been dead for literally three
Since
weeks, three
since
weeks
opener,
now.
yeah, since
No,
before
not even
opener,
before opener.
yeah.
I mean, like, that's the crazy thing. I just look at the farm the last 3 years, and maybe it's a good thing. You hear Sturgis talk about all the time of how farms adapt and mature, and you go through, and as you start introducing more and more food, like we have, we're sitting at probably 3.5 acres of food on the farm of,
Hmm.
and we've done a lot of TSI improvement, a lot of timber stand improvement, and a lot of other habitat work where we've tried moving bedding areas around, and we still have a ton of does. Like, I mean, like, talk about,
Oh
there's
yeah.
there's 10 different does on camera every night, and it almost makes me wonder that I'm really praying that come like October 5th, or maybe this is it. Maybe on Tuesday when we get this first front that go through, this
Hmm.
is going to get a bug implanted on the brain where I think, all right, it's time to go back home. and time to like go because like I know we've created sanctuary. I shouldn't say sanctuary spots, but like spots where I know there isn't does that there should be bucks bedding in. And so I'll be very curious to see what date that is that these guys decide to start showing back up.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's earlier than later. Because if they're not here by probably October, 15th, I have a strong feeling that we're going to get only a couple glimpses of them from Halloween through the rut, and that's probably it.
Gonna be a heavy upland and duck hunting fall.
Yeah, right. And then we'll have to do a complete reset and figure out what the heck we did wrong this year but that's the
Hmm.
interesting, isn't it? We didn't really do anything different. We
Anything.
just rinse and,
Mm-mm.
the last 3 years has been so successful. We just rinse and repeated what we've done.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and like obviously, like you talked about, like that cold front. So with that big 15, depending on what app you're looking at, 15 to 20 degree temperature drop. What if it's because it's gonna be 78 Monday, and then it's gonna be a high of like 60 on Tuesday. What are you hunting Monday night or Tuesday morning?
Ooh, that's a good one. Just being that we're this early in the season still, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
you have to be, the hunt the morning. I feel like you got to know where that buck's betting at. You got to
Mm.
know where he's living, where he's going to.
Yep.
I just always have just associated early season with
Evenings.
evening hunts, and I just think that call sign to food. I don't know what the moon phase is like. It's always for me. It is it's weather,
Like
uh,
it's a
time of year, and then the moon phase. I'm not
might be
really,
almost it might be almost no moon because it was like I think it was
yeah,
a
which is
waxing crescent last night. So
which isn't a bad thing because I mean, if any people that out there that are in that moon stuff, they talk about usually it's that just phase before becoming to a new moon or the phases where it's just about to go out of a new moon. So I'm telling
mhm.
you, Tuesday could be an absolute slam dunk of a day, or Monday evening, excuse me. Just getting
Mhm.
those deer want to go get the feed bag on. They want to go eat. So and that's still right now. I know farmers. Actually, I don't really know back home. I would assume that from the last I've heard, they've already started harvesting, but there's a chance you still
Mhm.
might have one corner pocket of a bean field that might be green, and that might be it. Um,
Yeah, I would be shocked. I mean, just driving kind of all
I
around
mean,
like lately, it's
this late, I'd be shocked.
yeah, and then, yeah, there are definitely some guys out picking beans. So
But I tell you what, if you got food plots in the ground right now, like those early season, like if you got radishes, even like
mm,
we're just about to that time frame where they're going to start probably crushing like greens from like a Nebraska field, anything like that.
mhm.
I think the jury's talking about. I don't know what phase that is for them, but they talked that kind of like that return to green where they started getting back into that habitual habit of like getting out to those food sources early evening. But yeah,
Mhm.
I'd say I'm probably this time of year with the front, I'm still probably an evening hunter. Unless I knew exactly where that buck was bedding or where he's trying to get back to in the morning to cut him off.
Mhm. Sure.
How about you?
A little bit of both. I don't know. The only thing that pushes me towards mornings, I just love the be in a tree when the woods wakes up in the
For
first thing in
sure.
the morning, especially when it's colder. It's gonna be like
Yeah,
42. So, um, I don't know. We'll see. It'll probably end up being whatever I can, either Monday evening or Tuesday morning, whatever I can finagle.
sure.
Try
Well,
and
I mean,
snag a day off from work or something. But
that's what you got to do. And I look at it like for my situation right now, like I said, I'm not going to be able to get back home and hunt the farm until like Halloween, which is
hmm
fine because that's the one thing I'm thankful about being that I have lived up here for, I think this is going to be our seventh or eighth fall of living up here now is, those first 5 years, 6 years that we lived here, I just, I didn't really, I hunted, but not really. It was more of like analysis and research and just scouting
mm,
and I, put boots on the ground, lots of different spots. And like 6 years is a long time. And like, I mean, a buck could go through a whole entire life cycle within 6 years. And the deer that I've seen back then could be completely different. But of getting an understanding of a lot of these different properties we have from swamps to hardwoods to hills up here, where I feel like we live in such a dynamic area in central Minnesota where you could hunt literally in any type of terrain,
hmm
even in an egg too, to where I have a good idea. Like Monday night where I want to go.
Yep.
It's just more or less of we'll see how it goes sitting in the saddle for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a learning curve, but I mean, like you said, we basically have the same setup now with saddles. So like, and anyone that's ever asked me, and so shout out to XOP for this, but anyone that's ever asked me like, what do you think of your saddle? Do you like it, etc.? And I say 100% like it's a great saddle for someone that's not sure that they want to
Hmm.
completely be a saddle, because it's not going to break the bank. It's not going to
No.
be, $600-700. It's, but so it's a way where it's like if you get into it and you're like, boy, this is definitely not for me, not a fan of rappelling out of a tree,
Well,
then you're not out too much, you know what I mean?
and like the lineup I got, I think they called it their Rut series. It was like their
Mm,
Shield special they had, and it looks like they have it on their website too. I mean, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, like it came with a backpack, came with their Invader series platform and sticks, which I actually am a big fan of the sticks. So I mean, me, I'm 6'2", kind of a gorilla man with long arms, so I could make four short sticks get me up to probably 20, 25. We'll find out here in a day or two when I finally get a chance
hmm.
to play around with it. I feel like I can still get up really high, and I don't need to have aiders or anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have the Edge or the Invader for the platform?
The Invader, the new
Nice.
it's light,
Super light. Super light.
super
Yeah,
light,
because I have the Edge, so it's a
and I heard
little
that one's a little
bigger.
bit heavier.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know, I like it.
Which
I
I
look
always laugh because I'm gonna pull it up because I bet it's like half a pound.
Hey, now that I'm in the saddle space, I'm gonna be like ultralight backpackers where I'm just gonna
Yeah,
get
ounces become pounds.
yep.
So it is actually like 3 pounds heavier. So that is quite a
Oh,
bit, I
wow.
guess.
I did not, and I didn't. I was going so like last night, like I said, I spent like 3 hours in my garage going through and painstakingly taping each. So I'm cheap. I didn't want to buy a stealth strip this year just because I've had good experience with hockey tape. Shout out that we live in hockey country, so I can get
Yeah.
hockey tape really cheap. I went out. Took forever. I went out, wrapped
Hmm.
each stick top to bottom hockey tape, and it's amazing how just a little bit of tape, even hockey tape, can like. It's one thing I noticed in video.
Drastically change it. Yep.
Yeah, I was watching videos of guys that were using these types of sticks, and like Latitude has some really cool stuff where they have the carbon sticks, and then I know Tethered. I'm sure Tethered's going to come out with some carbon sticks here soon since they came out with the carbon platform. But yeah, just even a little bit of tape, and I'll show some pictures of it, maybe in like the cliff notes or something like that. But I taped everything. I taped all the pressure points on my saddle, so like any pinch spots or any spots where I might have a buckle that hits another buckle. I taped all those off. Did the same thing with all my lineman ropes, clips, everything. So I should be ready, and I painted everything, so it looks pretty good. But I
Hmm.
did not that's what I was going to shout out to XOP. I did not tape my platform because the platform has what's that type of paint that they do on like
Oh,
I can't think of it. Yeah, I can't think of it.
I know what
Anyways,
you're talking. It's like that textured stuff, right?
yeah, so I
Yeah.
was like, well, that's actually going to be kind of nice because I was like, if I paracord this or if I tape this, I'm going to lose a lot
Hmm.
of that rigidity that I'd get otherwise. And the platform's pretty
Sure.
quiet. I silenced off all the main like squeak or not squeaky points, but like hit points.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, it's I don't know. I'm excited. It's for me. It's
Hmm.
going to be something I feel like I'm going to be able to get into a lot more spots. Because I will say though, when I had my assault two, I felt like I could get into any tree possible. Didn't matter if it was a small pine tree or if it was a
Well, now
giant
you're
oak
definitely
tree.
getting into any tree.
Well, I know. So I'm excited about that, and I think I'm more excited just that like a lot of the spaces that I do go, like it's a 2 mile, 2.5 mile walk back in through a
Yep.
swamp to a back island where it's like I'm carrying 20 pounds plus on my back with camera gear, so really probably like 35 pounds to be able to cut that in like
Hmm.
half is going to be super nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like obviously, and I'm sure many people do that hunt or bow hunt, but like the the ability you have with a saddle is like I mean, you can not like get crazy, but you can. you can lean back in it and face the tree. You can stand in it like it's a tree stand. You can side to side. I mean, it's it's virtually 360 degrees around a tree. So, like I've even done it on, like last year, just practicing like with does I know I'm not going to shoot, just be like pretending it's a buck and being like, okay, if this was a buck, I don't have a shot here. How could I maneuver? You know what I mean? So like practicing those times when it's a small buck, even too.
Yeah.
Practicing those opportunities. Be like, okay, if this was a buck I was actually going to shoot, how would I maneuver myself to shoot this deer and not spook it or not make noise
Yep.
or hide better? So it's like it completely changes the game. And it's yeah, I'm excited for you. You're gonna have a lot of fun doing that.
Well, we talked about the other day. It was like, do I buy a new camo this year or do I buy a saddle? Because I got rid of my
Mm.
assault too, and it's I've kind of done that through the years. Didn't matter if it's been golf clubs or bows or whatever it is, where I have a tendency to sell things a little too early before I'm prepared to buy something. And then
No,
it became to be about yeah, last week, and I'm like, well, the season's underway. People are killing bucks.
it's time to go.
I don't have anything to get up in a tree. I'm like, I thought how crazy this thought is, and shout out to the hunting public because I was like, well, maybe I'm gonna
Ground
challenge
hunt.
maybe I'm gonna ground hunt this year. And then I thought about it, I'm like, nah, that doesn't sound fun. So
No, I hear you. There's something about being up in a tree that just makes it a little bit more, I don't know, fun. I guess. Are you gonna? Here's a good one for you. Are you going to take it with you when you guys go out to South Dakota?
yes, because it's gonna be less intrusive unpacking than packing a whole entire tree stand setup was. Um,
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna use it, would be totally up in the air because the only
Yep.
times I think that would make sense, so like when we hunted down by
Oh,
Chamberlain
I
that
know where
one
you're talking.
time.
Was that where Noah
Um,
saw that giant whitetail and then the truck came in?
yep. So
Yeah,
if
that's
we
exact.
if
That's the
we
first spot that I thought of too. Yeah.
if we get to a point in our hunt, and we'll have to do a podcast about your hunt and our hunt coming up here too, and we'll get everybody on. But um, yeah, the most of the stuff that we do go and hunt, and where we've been, we'll just keep
Mm-hmm.
them as secret locations as for now.
Covert.
There's chances, but we're for the time period that we're going to be going for. I mean, we're going to be smack dab, like just on the cusp of like peak rut,
Mm-hmm.
and primarily chasing muleys, it just doesn't make sense. But if we get to like, and that's how those Western hunts usually go, where, we hop around between the different gun seasons trying to avoid gun hunters. And then
Yep.
if we get to a point where, yeah, it's the last day and a half, we haven't had any encounters, we might just throw a Hail Mary and we might go hunt a piece like that where I do have opportunities to go out in
Hang interest.
hang a set and go kill a whitetail,
Mm-hmm.
just to fill a tag. So definitely coming with on the trip. It would be sweet though to slock a muley out of a saddle. It would just be
I don't know if I've
wild.
seen. I mean, I'm sure it's obviously been done, but I don't know if I've seen like an actual video of somebody doing that on public.
Some of the coulees that I've been in, there's definitely potential trees. It's
It's
just it'd be weird to do out there. People would be like, "What are you doing?"
what are you doing? Well, and that's the whole thing. It's like you are limiting yourself to that one
Yes.
tunnel. Yeah. But no, like you said, if you're looking to change it up right at the end and just be like, okay, we need to get on some whitetails, go hunt some bigger wood
Yeah.
spots, then for sure, game changer. Even river bottoms. If you had a good spot of river bottoms, because usually with those you're with a true tree stand, you're trying to get into a tree that maybe is wider than the width of your hand.
Yeah.
So I could see slinging slinging a saddle up into one of those and
For sure.
ambush spot or something. But yeah,
The only stand or the only tree that and I think maybe we talked about this in one podcast, but like those giant cottonwood trees in like western
mm,
South Dakota that are like
yep,
literally the size of my table. I'll just never forget the the one night we're out there. This is back when we had a lease out in Camp Crook, and I sat out early morning. I don't think setup's probably at like 7 or it was like
mm,
6:30. I don't think I was in a tree until about 9:30. And this is like peak rut, keep in mind, like deer running around everywhere. But this cottonwood was literally the size of, and I'm dumb. I didn't bring my tree stand with me, so I was borrowing. And this is nothing against XOP. I had a lone wolf assault too that was all rigged out, and it was like I could do it with my eyes closed. I was so used to setting that stand up, and
Yep.
so I got this new XOP. I don't know which stand it was and sticks, but not used to it. This tree's the
Sure.
size of my desk, and like trying to double wrap like trying to use like paracord and like double wrap like the actual stick.
Getting real
Just trying
sketchy.
just trying to get up in a tree. And I remember I got up in a tree at like 9:30 and I literally saw a deer all morning. And then I sat from like 9:30 to 2 and didn't see a deer. And it was
Oof.
just demoralizing because it took me like 2.5 hours to get set up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that there like obviously you know, and you'll definitely find out here is there's a learning curve to it. Even when we were messing around with mine, this just before opener doing some media shots and stuff, I was like,
Yeah.
how the heck do I get this thing so I don't fall off? Because it's like that first time you lean back and sit, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, and then you're fine.
I feel like, and it's all muscle memory. And I feel like I've done enough like hang and bang setups in my life to
Oh
where
yeah.
I think it's going to come to me really quick.
Hmm.
I might eat crow on that. I'll let you guys know. But
Yeah, we're gonna have a report
yeah,
back on one of these next ones of how that
but
first
I think
hunt
it should
went.
be good. We'll see. I
No,
think
it'll be good.
there's a couple things, that's like the funny thing about, anything with hunting is like you can go down a complete rabbit hole and get things that you probably do and don't need. So before I get too crazy, there's a couple big things I want to get. I want to get um some hooks for my left side of my saddle so I can hook, my bow, or I can hook I can hook a sticks or something like that. And then I for sure want to get some like tethered hooks that I can like hang my bow on,
Hmm.
rather than bring in like an actual bow hanger, just to be a little bit more minimalistic. But
Yep.
that's it. I don't think I'm going to go and buy like the back support yet. I don't think I'm going to go get like all these other things that I just don't know I don't need. Um, or I don't know I'm not going to use yet. And just going to
Hmm.
really kind of give it a try run. But hopefully I can go whack a doe. That's my goal. I mean, we're in a CWD zone up here too, so I definitely can go slack a doe any day of the week, which is kind of nice.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's here and
It's here. It's
it's
sad.
go time.
It's
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 good
it's
nuts.
it's exciting. It's go time, but we say it
Hmm.
every time. It is going to be
December.
short lived, man.
Hmm.
We are less than 2 months away from our trips to South Dakota. We're less than a month away from Halloween. We're less
Hmm.
than 3 months away from the season being over.
That's a really glass half empty way to look at it, but yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's true. I mean, it flies by, and we're all busy with life and family and
Yeah.
kids and all that fun stuff. So, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to getting Liam out in the blind one of these nights
Good.
when I have a chance, and then I think I actually somehow, I was teasing Jen about this. I said we're gonna do a love from the duck canoe episode with her. So our anniversary is
Fun.
yeah, our anniversary is the Saturday of that duck reopens. So
The week after ours, isn't it?
yep,
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, so we can almost yours is a few days away, and then
Happy early anniversary to my wife. If she's listening.
yeah, same. But no, I think I convinced her to actually go out in the canoe and go duck hunting. I don't think she'll just tag along. She's not going to shoot or nothing. But I was like,
Nice.
oh, all right, let's do it.
It'll
So
be
it'll be
fun.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I definitely. It'll be interesting to like figure out what sort of a mix, and maybe it'll be good for me because I think definitely sometimes like I over deer hunt if that's a thing. Where I burn spots out or sit when I
Sure.
you know what I'm saying?
So
So it's like now
what's your take on that? So I mean, obviously, you and I have had, and same thing with like Eric. We've had lots of talks of how and of like managing the farm back home in as an example, but also too like I
yeah.
know you got a lease. You've cut your teeth on public ground and stuff like that. So tell me a little bit about what your strategy is when it comes to uh you kind of just alluded to it a little bit that you think that you hunt too much. Do you feel like the older that you've got and the more that you've hunted as time has gone on, do you enjoy just getting out to get out, or would you, now that life is busy, would you rather being
Mhm.
like, hey, I could have hunted last week twice, but
Mm.
now I know that
Save it
Tuesday,
for the
like,
cold front.
should I saved it for next
Yeah.
Tuesday's the big day? Should I saved it for that?
It's still both because I do love just being out and like we've talked about it. Like it's like each sit is such a good reset for just like my own mental health and
Yeah.
for just reconnecting with my with my faith and just talking to God and having just open conversations with Him in the tree. So I mean, like that's a huge part of me. So like I definitely don't like not doing that, but at the same time, like as I've like you said, cut your teeth as you get older, doing it more, you do realize like, oh, there's some like thinking about like the first year we had that lease down in southeastern Minnesota is like there were definitely days where I should not have been in a tree stand because it was not right
Yeah.
when and then it's like nowadays back then it was like kind of just I just want to hunt because I got a lease etc. And nowadays you start talking to people and you're like and then you hear someone go the wind doesn't matter and I just it's like nails on a chalkboard now, you know what I mean, like
It's like,
I hear
"Ah."
somebody say that now, and it's like you look at them like they got something on their face that's weird. It's like, what are you talking about? So it's
Well,
like you
yeah.
said, for sure.
And it's
Hmm.
interesting though, because like I look at it like for me to where like it's hard. Like I like, obviously like bow opener for us was a little bit different. We if we killed a buck, that was like great. But
It
it
was
was
yeah.
it was go fest. It was
We
literally
needed
the
yeah.
worst weather. So kudos to you for killing one. But it was like the worst weather conditions you could ever want for bow hunting.
Hmm.
We had no wind, zero
None.
zero wind. It
Hmm.
was hot, like incredible. It was like 89,
Yeah, it was
and
terrible.
it was just miserable. It was just miserable sitting. I mean, it was great. I mean, it's like the Super Bowl. Like you get so excited because it's like bow opener. It's like
Finally
I'm
here.
not gonna miss it. But hindsight's 2020. Like that's the only time I had to hunt. Like I'm not gonna be back down the farm again, like I said, until Halloween. So it's like,
Hmm.
do you not sit that day because the weather's that bad, or is it you're so limited on the time? It's like you kind of have to sit because that's your only chance. So that's where I'm always
Yeah.
stuck in a dilemma
Hmm.
of when I do come back home to hunt. It's like I pray when I come home because I do have the luxury of if say there was a cold front that came through on the 26th of, or which say it was, I think whatever that Monday is, I think the 28th of October, there's a front that's coming through. Like I could probably figure out a way to get home and hunt for a day, maybe a day and
Who's
a
your
half,
yeah.
and come back up north. But it's like
Hmm.
that's why I put so much time in on public land up here too, or it's like, well, I've got some good spots I can go hunt up here rather than having to drive 4 hours back home to go hunt.
Yeah.
But it's hard because like you come say the weekend that I do come home, it might be 75 degrees and it might be horrible hunting. It's like, well, do we go pressure the woods just to go hunt because I'm here, or
Hmm.
do we just find something better to do?
Yeah, it's a healthy mix of, okay, I have time to hunt, but the weather's not great. So then that, it's like it's a I don't know what you call it, a puzzle, whatever you want to call it. It's like being very strategic. It's like the game of risk. Like you have the time, you have the opportunity to, how do I now, what stand, what location, what spot on this public land can I get into with this weather? And I think a lot of the times you can make it work no matter what the weather's doing,
Yeah,
but it's especially true, when you have a mobile setup, when you have a super light stand, when you have a saddle, like then that's a complete game changer because even if you have established tree stand spots like you do on the farm, if it's complete bad weather or complete bad wind for all or 90% of the spots, you still have that saddle in your back pocket where I could be like, but I don't have a tree stand here, but I
hmm,
could get in there with the saddle. So it's,
for sure. And
yeah.
that's a new dynamic. That's where it kind of was like a no brainer for me to buy the saddle this year because I was like, well, I
Hmm.
completely lost the advantage of like I could just make a surprise attack
Yeah.
there rather than just sitting on the ground. I just feel like my opportunities would just be so much more like advantageous to be in a tree, to be in
Sure.
the right tree.
Yeah.
So, couple rapid fire questions I want to ask you.
Oh,
So,
baby. I was
so
literally just thinking about that, so that's kind of
nice.
weird.
Okay.
I
Well,
was, yeah, I was picking Liam up. Long story short, I was picking Liam up for preschool today. I was like, I thought of a couple new ones that I'm gonna save for later. But go ahead. Sorry.
okay. Well, I'll ask first, then you go. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
first one. So we have a cold front coming through this Tuesday. So once again, everybody that's listening, you definitely need to be in the woods Monday, Tuesday. I think if you're out Wednesday, you've missed it.
Mm.
Where are you sitting? What's your game plan? Saying that you can go sit. Like, what are you doing?
Well, I'm guessing I other than looking at temperature, I haven't looked at wind or anything. I'm guessing it's got to be some sort of northwest wind. Probably a northwest, just how it's predominant down
I
here.
will tell you right now.
Yeah, give me the. I need the
I'll
full
give you I'll
deets.
give you the specs if our
I gotta pull up the farm now.
blazing fast internet wants to actually be fast. Dun, dun, dun. Well, you could go hunt in Florida in the hurricane. That'd be fun.
Yeah, actually, I was kind of wondering about that, just because not hunting in a hurricane, but like where it travels, it does look like it's gonna travel virtually straight northwest, like our way. It won't be a hurricane by the time it
If
gets up here,
if we lived
but
in
it would be some sort of cool weather system,
it would.
maybe.
A lot of people in not just southeast, but the East Coast. You hear about the Carolinas and stuff like that. Like a hurricane's like a big deal, and like there's opportunities. Like it just brings unique opportunities to kill. Okay, so here we go. So we're wow, we are talking like crazy front. So we are going Monday. We have a high of 80 and a low of
Hmm.
46 for that morning. And then Tuesday,
Tuesday morning.
high is 6. Yes, Tuesday is a high of 64. So we're talking about a 16-degree temperature drop.
Hmm.
Um, and then it's a low of 42 at night. So really the morning lows aren't crazy different. But definitely that evening is going to be, I think that evening's your ticket. And look,
Monday.
you have a northwest wind of like,
I figured.
you even got good wind too. You got 13-mile-an-hour wind.
Fine. Oh my gosh. I finally get some wind. It's been so dead down here. God, that's a tough one. You're talking the farm?
I don't know, wherever you want to sit. Could be the farm, you could
Mhm.
be on a piece of public, you could be on your lease. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, the tough, like, I would love to sit like those southern, talking the farm, like those southeast southern stand spots, like or like backdoor stand,
mhm.
honey hole, those ones. But like the toughest part with those stands is it's so hard not to bust a deer because they love to just sit right on that hillside. Uh, in the afternoon. So if I'm coming, you know what I'm saying? So like that's where it's like I'm almost flirting with Tuesday morning just because I feel like I would have a better chance of sneaking into one of those spots, but I don't know.
I don't know. Eric got back there opening night, if I'm just trying to staring
Yeah, he
off
did.
in the abyss
That's
of
true.
thinking. But yeah, Northwest stand, I think that'd be, you're talking about like the backdoor stand, lone wolf stand,
I mean,
the
the stand I
lookout.
shot that doe out of. I mean,
Actually no, that's your stand right there.
that's probably the one. Yeah, because it's an easy one. It's a quick walk in. I could park
That is,
over.
I'm telling you, Luke hung one of probably my and it's even a ladder stand. It would be actually a cool saddle stand, but one
Yeah, I
of my
would.
new
You could really tuck in there then.
all-time favorite sets. It's on an inside pocket of the best bedding ground on the farm,
Hmm.
and we put in maybe a 16th of an acre, maybe a quarter of an acre of just it's just greens. It's like radishes, and I
Yep.
think we got to get. Well, that's one thing we do got to do. We got to get. We haven't had any rain, so I'm glad we haven't put it out yet. But we got to get all our winter rye out.
Yeah.
Um, and but that plot looks really good though. So I mean, like that's just a mixture of like I think a lot of like no BS from Domain and a bunch of clover.
Hmm.
Dynamite spot though.
Yeah. I mean, with that, I mean, I would. Okay, this is turning into a longer than a quick fire, but it's important because it's the first real big cold front. So I would say there or either bushwhacker or Y stand, because like especially if I'm hunting the evening, maybe the bushwhacker stand, just because if with that wind, I'd probably get some pull down with the thermals into the creek.
Yep. Oh, you
Yeah, that.
for sure would.
Yeah, and the Y, the Y, maybe. It'd be blowing right to where they're walking, so it's probably not a great spot. No, not that one.
Yeah, but that stand though at the Y,
By the time they get there, you should
you
be.
bet that they better be dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna wait till I how.
You and Eric will have to be flipping coins. Knowing
Yeah,
Eric, Eric's pretty religious though. He'll probably go to and I was going to say another great stand would be the and it's just always such a hard wind for that stand. We need to figure out how to make that spot better, but I'm talking about the corner stand
Hmm.
behind the pond. That is such a talk about like well, I think we said it in a couple of podcasts maybe before
That's
the
Eric's
seats
stand right there.
before the season kicked off, but it's like those inside pockets,
Yeah.
those transition areas of like two woods meeting up, and then you get like that inside turn, and then it's already just like a natural funnel location. Like they're so good, and especially like for both those spots, they're just gateways to destination food. Um, I don't know. I think those are good. I think those are good bids. So there's that question. So thanks for answering that. So what? Give me some predictions here. Next month and a half. What are some
Hmm.
predictions that you have rolling out for the season?
I don't know. A lot of hunting. That's about all I know. I mean, October's gonna be. October's always interesting because like you could get something like next week where you're gonna get a really good cold front, and then you're out rolling into the lull. But then you got pheasant season. Pheasant opens on the
Hmm.
12th, so it's gonna be a healthy mix. Like next week, I'm definitely gonna try and if I can get time off of work, I'm gonna definitely try and be hunting Monday evening.
Sure.
Um, and then I'll probably duck hunt that weekend because that opens back up. Maybe, and then it's pheasant that next weekend, and then it's
That's
this
why.
week. No,
That's why I'm asking. It's like you gotta you can only please so many masters, but it's nice to be able to
hmm
do. It's nice to be able to do a little bit of everything because like October's such a fun month, but it's just so many different seasons opening up and turkey open. I mean,
hmm
there's lots of different seasons opening up.
yeah. I will say that I don't ever envision me being a fall turkey hunter.
Hey,
Just
man,
there's too much else.
I
Like in this
go by
in
it,
this
you can whack one.
yeah, well,
We have
I
so
have as
many
many
birds.
turkeys on the farm. It's not a bad idea, but with the spring is a lot different for this area because it's basically that's it.
Yeah,
But yeah, with October, and the tough part about October is it could be, like last year Halloween was like freezing. It was
yeah.
cold,
Snowed.
but yeah, but then the Halloween before that it
It's hot.
was 80 degrees. So
Yeah,
October is such a typical Minnesota weather month where it's sunny and 80 one day and it's freezing rain the next. So you just kind of buy your time, and like I said, it's going to be a healthy mix of deer, duck, and pheasant for sure.
nice.
Yeah. How
Well,
about
that's
you?
good for what I'm going
What's
to be
your
doing.
yeah?
Well, my goals, I would say, obviously, I want to hopefully before we go on our South Dakota trip, my goal is to have a buck on the ground, and not that I'm going to drop my standards this year. I have been due for a buck for a hot minute. I've passed
Mm,
on a lot of deer that it's like the hard thing is like you got to take progressional growth of like killing bucks. I feel like before you can just start killing big bucks all the time and just from passing on a lot of deer because it's that's the hard thing is I really still want to kill one on public, so that's I think I'm gonna try to, and that's one thing I've missed and I've learned a lot. Um and it's hard to do it on the farm because you don't want to go booger out. We only have like what it's 48 acres and then it's
hmm
adjoining 30, so it's hard to be like, oh, I'm gonna go scout. Well, you scouting might blow up the whole entire woods, but like,
yeah.
especially when you're trying to hunt with three people over a whole weekend, it's you kind of got to step on eggshells a little bit. But I look at it for like public, especially now that I've got a saddle and stuff. Like, I know where I need to be. I just need to go find fresh signs. Like, I think of October, I think of scrapes, 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 scrapes,
Yeah.
and I'm hunting scrapes. So
hmm
I'm gonna try to get out. Hopefully here maybe Sunday, me and Nora might go rip around at like noon or something like that and try to go find some spots that I would think by about now they should be pretty well established and opened up.
Mm.
Actually, and just see if I can't find any fresh sign and put a battle plan together for to 20. What is that? That'd be no. What is that? Second? I think it's when the front.
What 30th is
Yeah, no,
the
first. So October 1st.
yeah, is that morning. It'll be cold. Yep.
But yeah, no, my goal is hopefully have a Minnesota buck in the ground before we leave for South Dakota. And this is the first year in I couldn't tell you how long, maybe ever, that we literally have until what is it? We have until the 8th to kill a buck in Minnesota with a bow before gun opens up.
Oh no, I thought you were talking like January. I was like, what?
Oh,
Yeah, I was
so,
like, wait
so
a second, I
the
missed something big time. Gotcha. Yeah, no, that is true.
huge,
It is a
huge.
later. Usually it is like that fourth, is gun
Yep,
opener, the fifth. But yeah, it's not till the ninth. So
pretty crazy.
well, yeah, we might beat the Orange Army to it, which is fine, but yeah. So it's going down that kind of same vein with we'll do some hot button topics with election
Sure.
season looming.
Oh wow, fun. These might be interesting then.
Well, they're not about like that stuff, but with it's more just a hot button. So
Sure.
if it was on, not that it would never be like this, but if it was on a ballot to vote on in November, would you? And it would say allow cell cams or no cell cams. You can still have dummy cams, but no cell cams.
For forever, or just
You,
for
yep, gone.
can't use them anymore.
Yep, until I don't know, till the
Okay.
forever.
You know what? I'm God, that's such a hard one. I would actually call me crazy just because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've had a little bit of change of heart. I was just listening to Cody DeQuisco talking about this the other day. I think
Mm.
I'd be against them.
So you would vote to get rid of them?
Yep. Is
Why?
I think so. I think they're an incredible tool.
Mm-hmm.
I think well obviously they've it's not like they've made me a better hunter. I feel like I think people now are just getting stuck in this rabbit hole of they're not hunting anymore. They're not going out and
Mm-hmm.
checking for fresh sign. They're not figuring out where the deer really
Getting
are.
lazy.
It's a little bit different. I look at it from like a private land perspective because I look at like the farm for us. It's relatively small.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much know if there's a deer or a turkey that's breathing. I feel like we kind of like know about it. But the
Yeah.
same
Yep.
thing too. Like, I think we have how many cell cameras do we have up on the farm? I think we have 7 right now.
Mm-hmm.
No, 8, and then you've got 3 more that we need to put up. So like, literally have every square inch covered. And if there's a buck coming through the farm, I'll figure out where he went, how he went, and where he did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like it takes away a little bit from like the the excitingness that it used to be, like where I knew, like
Mm-hmm.
going back and like thinking of like Grove Dolls, where it was like
Pulling SD cards.
pull an SD card and it's like, oh, there's a giant out here. And then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, now I need to play the game of cat and mouse and figure out like, all right, there's a fresh scrape that just opened up over on
Mm-hmm.
that field edge on this side. Like I know I had a picture of him back here in October. I haven't pulled any cards or done anything like that. And just, it's like it's like Christmas being able to see that deer. And it's like, that's like I'm saying is like, and this is maybe a bad debate about it, but it's like, I haven't killed just because the cell cameras have come out. I haven't killed 4 giants because of that, but we've
Mm-hmm.
also killed 3 bucks on the farm, which I think in beneficiaries helped with having the cell cams now in the last 3 years, which has been nice. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just think it's almost kind of like the forward facing sonar, what we have in the fishing world right now, where
Yeah.
if you could have regulations on it and certain aspects of where you could and couldn't do stuff, I feel like that would help. But if we're doing it from just a complete like it's either all or nothing, I think
Mm-hmm.
the hunting world would be better off without them.
I like it.
Yeah,
Sounds good. Yeah. It's
it's a
you
hard
know
one.
yeah, you're kind of being a hypocrite because, or we're not calling you out, sorry, but like we're kind of being hypocrites because we utilize them, right?
Yeah,
Cell cams,
but it's a
who
tool
doesn't
and
at
it's
this
legal.
point? Yeah, but so but I definitely get the sense of like we cut our teeth, and it's not like to be like back in my day, but it's a little bit of that, like we cut our teeth of like their cell cams were not a thing, and if they really haven't been a thing for the last 5 years, they've really popped, right? Like
Yeah,
the regular guy can afford and spend $100 on a cell camera and not, go, and still be able to utilize it. But so like you hit it, I think a little bit on the head there too, is like, you get a lot of people are getting away from the fact of checking, just looking for sign, right? Looking for scrapes, looking for rub line, looking for all sorts of different things. Where if you just throw a bunch of cell cameras out on your property, yeah, you probably are looking in the right spot. But yeah, I don't know. I agree. It's interesting.
I feel like
You know.
it's like one of those things where for me it's changed my mood of how I hunt because like
Mm,
I could be down on the farm or it could be anywhere. I could be out hunting and just say I didn't see any deer tonight. And then I
yep.
get back home, check my cameras, get my pictures at like 9 o'clock.
Should have
Cause like
sat this stand, right?
should have sat this stand or should have done this or should have done that. Or like I didn't
Yep.
see any deer and I'm just basing it off of like, oh, well, just because I didn't, see anything on the cameras, it's like, oh, the deer still could
Mm,
have been there. I just might have not have walked in front of the camera. It's like changed my
yep.
perspective of like, oh, that wasn't a fun hunt now because it was just like, it could have been here. So like, I think just that uh what's the word for it that just the aesthetic of like having the unknown that could happen is more or less like because I think that's actually illegal. I'm definitely against like the guys that have it on like instant pop up where it's like, all right, well, that deer is like 45 yards away from us because he just showed up on a camera and I'm sitting in this tree
Hmm.
stand, like that's a
Yeah.
complete um yeah,
Mm,
definitely against that. But yeah, I don't know,
yeah.
I think get rid of them. What else you got?
Sweet. All right. So being in Minnesota and last year being the first year that crossbows are allowed for the entire bow season, do you think that's good or would you change that
Change
and
it.
why? Yeah,
So I
why?
think if you have a disability or you physically can't draw a bow, good
Yeah,
example, like
65 plus. Yep.
yeah, good example like Zach. Hopefully he's feeling better. I know he listens, and he got the
Hmm.
bad accident, couldn't shoot his bow. He's a
Right.
giant buck killer. He definitely should be able to shoot a crossbow because why take away a season from him when
Hmm.
he's done all the work to be
100%.
able to do that? But now taking it away entirely, no, yeah, disabilities, injuries, age, I think all those things are completely acceptable. I'm even like for it from a youth perspective, like, saying if
Mm,
you're, you
get them
know,
into it.
yeah, for sure. Like if you're 12, I don't know what is the legal age you can hunt with a guardian. I don't know what
12,
that is.
12 sounds right.
12. I think like youth should be allowed to with like parental supervision, obviously. But I feel like if you can, if you can draw 40 pounds and you're 16, like yeah, you should be shooting a vertical bow rather than a crossbow. But that's the only component I have for crossbows. If it gets people into the sport, great. But for an
Mm,
average Joe, that for just Minnesota in perspective, that could go and buy a crossbow, use a crossbow. The hardest thing is that we're dying sport.
hmm.
Archery's declining every year. Gun hunting's declining every year. Hunting in general is declining every year. Like we're such a niche group of people. I think they should have their own season, just like we have like an early season youth hunt for gun. I think maybe there's a early season for or late season for crossbow or whatever that might be where they have a 2 week window to get out just because I just look at it where it's like you got a gun, it's literally a gun that shoots
Yeah.
arrows because
Yep.
there is still a human nature component to it to where yes you can miss, but from the
You
ease of
miss with a gun.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying,
Hmm.
like there's the human component, but I think from an ease of access of shooting accurately and just being able to tap out to 70, 50. But that's the thing is like you talk to some crossbowers, like some people don't feel comfortable shooting out past 50. That's like the
Just
farthest.
wild.
Yeah.
That's
But
crazy.
knowing
With
that
the
you're
yeah,
hitting quarters at 50 yards, so that's where I
yeah,
just think they should have their own individual season unless you have a disability or by age.
yeah. I would, yeah, and going off of that, I would say you could use it. Anyone can use it, but during gun season,
Oh, okay. I like that.
you
Yeah.
know, and that's my 2 cents on it because, like you said, like unless you're got like perfect example, Zach, big bow hunter, his entire life, he gets a freak accident, gets hurt, can't pull a bow back, then for sure, yeah, that woman should be able to use it, or the guy who's just retired wants
Yeah.
to continue hunting, but he's not as strong as he once was, kind of thing. Sure, great, yep. But for the, it just and like this kind of maybe goes down the same vein we're talking about. Not necessarily well, maybe it is laziness a little bit about hunters a little bit today is it's like you can shoot a regular bow, no problem.
For sure.
You
For
know,
sure.
so that's my thing is I would limit it to yeah, the disability and 65 plus, but then if you want to use it, go for it, but you can only use it during gun season.
Yeah, no, I like that, and yeah, it's a unique thing. It's one of those new things. It's in the same category as like, I mean, I guess crossbows have been along for forever, really. I mean,
Yeah,
since
literally
medieval
medieval
times.
times.
but
Yeah.
but from like a hunting perspective, though, like yeah, I just think you got to fit like one of those couple categories. I'm not going to think differently. Like I was listening to the Hunter podcast the other day. They're talking about like hunting over bait and stuff. Like it's legal in Ohio. Like but why wouldn't you? Like it's legal. Like you can
Mm.
hunt over bait piles. But everybody cringes. They're like, yeah, just like, oh, did you shoot her over bait? It's like, yeah, I guess. And like, no one wants to admit to it. Like I feel it's the same thing with the crossbow, where it's like, yeah, would you shoot with? Oh, I shot with a crossbow. It's like I'm not thinking differently of you, but I'm just like, well, okay. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
all right, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Those are my two hot button
nice.
topics for
I got one more for you. So
mm,
for southeastern Minnesota, and this is not prodding at the DNR, even though I just feel like we could work on a couple things for Minnesota, but
mhm.
with where we're at with CWD in the state and
Oh
assessing
boy.
how all the other states have done it, from Wisconsin to Missouri to the Dakotas now to, I mean, literally it's everywhere. But for our zone in particular, how do you feel? So we are in 655 for our zone in southeastern Minnesota. Then we're surrounded by the intensive harvest just to the east of us, which is actually a really big sector where they can shoot 5 deer now. And we can
Mhm.
shoot 3 deer in our zone, and three of those could be bucks or vice versa, interchanging does depending on the season and what you get for tags. How do you feel about that? Like, do you feel like that should be the same? Should that change? What's your
Ah,
thought?
I don't know. It's so hard because it's like the second you say one thing, you think another. Sometimes with this whole issue, it's tough because it's like I'm very much a small government constitutionalist because it's like the last thing I want is more government overreach in the things I love to do and in my life.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I really want the government telling me more of what I can and can't do and how to do it and where to pee and not to pee kind of thing? Where it's like, it's hard. I think five is too much, honestly. Five's insane. I mean, but at the same time, it's like you could make the argument. It's like, well, that's how I feed. I feed my family on 5 deer. So it's
Well,
like,
I would say the main hot bucket or hot button topic is like not necessarily the doe tags, because a lot of
mm,
states have different variances in
sure,
that, but more or
yeah.
less of should you be able to kill 3 bucks?
No, I don't think so. I
And coming
think
from Minnesota used to be a 1 buck state.
yeah, exactly. I don't think that I honestly don't think, especially in our area, if you shot I mean, you could shoot 3 bucks, but I'm talking like three legitimate shooters, 130 inch plus class deer, let's say.
We wouldn't
They
have a
they don't
shooter for.
exist. They don't exist. There's no way you know, there is a way. I shouldn't say there's no way, but like there's almost no there's just this very slim chance that you would have the opportunity in our area. We're not quite down, you know,
Yeah.
quite towards like Preston in that area where you would have a better chance. But no, I don't. I think two is plenty. You get one with your bow, and then you
Hmm.
can get one with your gun.
Yep.
You know what? I would do this. You could get two total. You could get one with one with your bow, or one with your gun, or one with your bow, or like
Hmm.
how about this? You could shoot two with your bow because
Okay.
it's so hard. It's a longer season. You could shoot two with your bow, but then you wouldn't be able to shoot one with gun or muzzleloader. Or you could shoot one with your bow, one with your gun, one with your bow, one with muzzleloader. That I like that.
2 bucks
Today,
though, or just two deer in general?
$2, and
Okay.
then those I don't know. I would say at least for sure at least a doe, maybe two, so four
Okay.
total.
Okay.
But like that 5 deer zone, That's $3,
Used to be unlimited.
$3, and then, 2 does if you want to do that way, or you could just shoot 5 does, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Here's my thoughts, and then we were just talking about this the other day. That's the only reason I brought it up because I thought for our
Hmm.
local listeners, they'd maybe appreciate this. You know, like you said, if we lived 40 minutes southeast or straight
Different story.
east or even Rochester, like that general area, and totally different perspective up here in northern Minnesota. But like for down there though,
Hmm.
if we lived in any of those zones, we joke about this all the time. If you were to throw like four hills, they don't even have to be like big hills, just
Oh
like this
yeah,
because we're so
just
flat. If you threw
a
four
hill.
like decent sized hills, like
Yeah.
we would be able to hide so many more deer and we'd have a lot more cover per square acre, how that works.
Hmm.
And it's just so flat. There's so less trees and there's just such minimal cover where our deer herd is very unique because it's very uh structured in size usually. And
Hmm.
I've yet to see where it's like, man, we have such an influx of deer right now where it's like it's crazy because like you said, that dynamic of bucks every once in a while we'll get some giants. And like, yeah, there's a couple of sections of woods maybe within our county from our county that do hold very high capita per deer per square mile, but that's just because they're literally the biggest woods in the county.
Right.
But for where we're at, just thinking of our sections that surround us in particular, like there's usually, I mean, like we could probably hold 30 deer in, maybe like our section or section and a half. That's probably it. Um,
Hmm.
and out of those 30 deer, there might be three 4.5-year olds, maybe one 5, 6.5-year old, maybe. And every once in a while we get a giant that comes through that lives in the area. But like you said, they're ghosts. So here's
Yeah.
my thoughts. I think bow hunting should be allotted two takes. You should have a bow buck and you have a
Hmm.
bow doe. And this is
Yep.
like perfect world for me because I just think of, we eat a lot of deer and
Hmm.
having the ability to shoot because I travel a lot, so that's where I'm just thinking statewide. Like having the ability to kill a bow buck and a bow doe. There's
Yep.
two deer with my bow.
Hmm.
Then I think you should have an optional bow. Same as what you said, pretty much. You should have an optional gun buck, vice versa, muzzleloader or
Hmm.
shotgun season, and then you should be able to get one additional doe tag for gun season if that's muzzleloader or shotgun. So that's
So
four deer,
yeah.
2 bucks. And this is very similar to Missouri and how they run their entire state. You could get, except theirs is a little bit different. You can get, with your archery tag. I believe if it's still the regs, you can get one bow buck and two does, and I think a
Hmm.
turkey tag, which is kind of cool. And then gun season is 1 buck. I think it's one doe, or maybe it's two does still, and then and there's your season. That's it. I can't remember if you can buy a separate muzzleloader tag, but I feel like
That's 6, isn't it?
it would be if you could do it muzzleloader to get a buck and doe. I just can't
Yeah.
remember how it works for
But
them. But
otherwise, it's 4. Yeah. I think
yeah,
4 is the. And this is, we're going down a deep rabbit hole here, but like, would you do a point restriction for gun?
yes, I
Okay.
think I think that needs to be implemented back in because where we're at with our zone right now, and this is just specifically speaking about our zone. So if the DNR is listening, take some notes. This would be interesting. But it's I just look at it for us. We're in a 3 buck. We're in a very low deer density area, and we're
Mm,
lucky enough to where we're at with the farm that we have a high deer density just because of the work we've done and all that other
mhm.
stuff. But
Yep.
and our surrounding neighbors. But I was going to say the fact that you can go out and we have a very low density of bow hunters. Like literally, it's like maybe there's like 10 in the combined
Me, you, and
10.
Eric.
Yeah, there's not many. But when it comes
Yeah.
to gun season, though, that doesn't mean anything because like they can still go out.
Everybody. Hmm.
They can go out and shoot, you know, a gun buck, a muzzleloader buck. They can shoot an additional doe. So that's 3 deer right there. And saying that everybody muzzleloader hunts and everybody shotgun hunts, that
Yeah.
could be 2 bucks per person and saying that because we do have a very high density of gun hunters. So all of a sudden you
Right.
throw 60 people in the mix with a gun tag, and then
Hmm.
it's like, well, they could wipe out a really good, healthy herd of young up and comers. And this is talking more about managing for antlers than it really is for just establishing like a healthy herd.
Yep.
But I just feel like it's so just backwards. Like I would almost rather have us go to one buck and like one doe and be like a two deer limit area than
Mm,
because I'm more than fine living and dying by my bow and just
yeah.
sitting in a tree stand all year.
Well, it's curious too, because if you think about like, I'm talking like let's say 150 acres of woods in our general section, there's probably 8 hunters that I can think of off just 7 to 8 guys. So that's if they bow hunted, gun hunted, and muzzle loader, which they don't all do, but just bear with me, that would be 21 to 24 bucks getting shot. There's no
Yeah.
way there's 21 to 24 bucks getting shot that are anywhere close to what we were just talking, like that, even 115 inch plus. There's not even that number. So that's where I think that antler restriction would be interesting to see what it would do to just see what happens. I don't know. It used to be like that around here, but then like where this all started is this whole CWD thing, and I don't know. I go back and forth so many times on CWD. A lot of people freak out about it. A lot of people freaked out about COVID, but I don't know. It's there. It's something. I think it needs to be watched. I don't know if what currently is going on is the right way to do it. I guess is my thought process, and I don't know what the right way to do it is.
Yeah. Now it's an interesting one, but and maybe this is a topic we save for some time when we can actually get like a biologist on here and we can kind of go into the nit and gritty of it
That'd be
all. And
great.
yeah, that'll be fun. But
I'd have a good time. Just and not even just like to be debating them. I want to know the science. I don't know, that's not my wheelhouse. So I want to understand where they're coming at it from that side. So if you're listening and you work for the Minnesota DNR or you're a biologist for the DNR or one of the universities, we'd love to chat,
yeah,
see what happens.
no, for sure. But well, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode again. And we just want to say thank you to all of our followers. And if you do get a chance, be sure to go check out our merch on
Hmm.
wildfaithpodcast.com. We have lots of awesome gear in there for all of you. And then we also have been dropping more and more daily videos up on our YouTube page. So feel free to go check those out. We got waterfowl hunting, deer hunting, everything you can think of in between. But we appreciate each and every one of you guys that do listen and do follow us. And we hope to continue to keep bringing you some awesome content. And we'll just wait until we see you next time.
See you later.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through faith and the great outdoors. We hope today's episode has inspired you to seek God's presence in the wilderness and deepen your connection with nature. If you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Wild Faith Podcast on your favorite platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode, and you'll continue to be a part of the Wild Faith Podcast community. We'd also love to hear from our listeners, so please don't hesitate to reach out with your questions, comments, or topic suggestions. You can connect with us on social media or through our website. Your feedback is important to us and helps us improve and tailor our content to better serve you. And always remember, the great outdoors isn't just a playground for hunting and fishing. It's a sanctuary for finding solace and spiritual renewal. As you gear up for that next adventure, I pray you find God's presence in the crackling of a campfire, the thrill of reeling in your catch, or the quiet solitude found in nature. Until next time, thank you for listening to the Wild Faith Podcast. Take care, and God bless.